Hello there, this is Anthony Johnson, and the premise of this video is to discuss the pivot versus the sum case. So we have this table. I'm just gonna do a top line. Okay. So now we see, so essentially what we're gonna do is take the product name and do the sum price of it based off the year. So with these, we're gonna flip these results into a temp table. So we're gonna create our temp table. I'm gonna give this an alias real quick. We're gonna give it the alias of B, and then we're gonna do product name, because that's what we want. And then we're gonna do price times quantity, which is gonna give us our total price. And then we're gonna also do our year. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the year function. The column is called date. We're gonna call that year. Put some brackets around this. And now we have 5 years in here as far as a different amount of years. So we're gonna cancel that. Now we see we have a bird's eye view of what we're gonna do. So we're gonna flip this into a tip table. Into hash symbol temp piv, which is called temp piv for like temp pivot. Oh, there we go, highlight that. Okay, 1.2 million and some change rows in there. Okay, so now we have that. Let's just verify. Top. Temp piv, okay. Alrighty, so now we see what we have here. Let's just comment all of this out. Control K-C. Alrighty. So now let's start our pivot. A pivot, with the pivot keyword, it's only in T-SQL that I'm aware of. The sum case is more so a universal use case, so it transcends across the different variations of SQL. So let's start building our pivot. I'm gonna do select. I actually have to keep this uncommented out, actually. Okay, so now I'm gonna do our temp piv, because the temp table only lasts for the duration of a query. So if it's highlighted out, it won't be recognized by IntelliSense. So we're gonna do product name. And then we're gonna do our years. We have 2009, 2010, 2011, 2018, and 2019. 2019. Alrighty, so now we have our columns, and it's from our temp table. Don't mind the red squiggly lines right now. It will all make sense after a while. So we use our pivot keyword, open parentheses, give a little space, close parentheses. So now we're gonna do sum price for year, because that's what our column is called year. And these columns are the actual years. So essentially we're summing the price of these product names per year. So then we need a little bit more keywords. So we need in. I'm just gonna copy this, Control C, Control V, place that there. And then we have to give our table an alias as pivot example. Alrighty. So now we highlight this. That's why. It's total price. My apologies. Total price. Okay, now let's highlight it. So as you can see, we're gonna order it so we can do a side-by-side analysis. We're gonna order by one, meaning we're gonna order by product name. And let's do that again. Okay, so we get our results back. You see in 2009, we didn't have any sales for that item. 2010 we did, and the remainder of the years we did not. So now let's go over the sum case aspect or comparison. This is another way. This is the more universal way to pivot a table. So we're gonna do product name again. And then this is where we start our sum case. So we do sum. Then we're gonna wrap the case up inside of the sum. So when year, because that's our column name, when year, gotta spell it right first. When year equals 2009, then price, total price, and then we're gonna end it. We're gonna call that as 2009. Alrighty, so now we're gonna copy that. We're gonna make a few modifications. That's 405. Okay, so now 2010, 2011, 2018. We'll swap this 0 for a 1, and that's 2019. We're going to change these as well because these are our column headers. 2011, 2018. Let's swap this 0 for a 1. Now, since we have aggregate in our select list, we certainly have to use our group by. So we're going to group by our product name. We're also going to order by line. Okay, so now let's highlight that. And as you can see, it's pretty similar. So now let's do our side-by-side analysis. Let's highlight all this. Alrighty. So you see, if we click on here, on the top result pane, we have 4,969 rows. We click on the bottom one, on the bottom result pane, we have 4,969 rows as well. So now let's look, and it looks very similar. Very, very similar. Let's scroll all the way to the bottom and make sure everything is still intact. And as you can see, it is. So essentially, using the pivot is just another feature that's in Microsoft SQL. So you put your column name of, in our case, we wanted the product name, and then we wanted the summarized total, or the total prices. It all added up, aggregated inside of the individual years, which is 2009, 2010, 2011, 2018, and 2019. We do our pivot. We place our pivot keyword up underneath our from clause, and then we wrap the sum of the total price for the year in those designated years that we're looking for inside of, essentially similar to a subquery, but it's just part of the syntax. But then we come down here, the more universal way, we put our product name, and then we do a sum case. And the sum case is pretty powerful. And if we was to rate it from For ease, 1 to 10, I'll say this is probably like a 9.5 as opposed to remembering this syntax. But ultimately, it's pretty good to know both ways to achieve the same answer, because in the real world, you may not be working in Microsoft SQL all the time. So that's all I wanted to show you. I hope this video was informative. Thank you and have a blessed one. Bye-bye.